Hello, peoples of the interwebs. I am Robert Michael. So recently I was given an assignment to do a panel project on an essential question given to me by my school. So how this works is I'm going to take 4 classes of my choosing and relate them to the essential question to help me support my answer to it, while of course showing off the projects I did for those individual classes. So what sustains us? Being me, I had to look it up, and what I got was to strengthen or support, physically or mentally. And under that definition, I got to undergo or suffer. So when I first read the definition, it was pretty simple to grasp. I mean, I could completely relate to it. Have you been in chemistry or math? It's so freaking hard and boring. It's like they're trying to kill you from the inside. Obviously, we're going for the first definition, and that's really simple to grasp. You know, the whole supporting. But imagine what I could do with the suffering. So my answer to this question was, in order for a subject to sustain us, it must sustain another subject or more in order to sustain us as a whole. For example, obviously it can sustain us by a matter of speech. We can tell really good stories, or we could just flat out tell people how we feel. So there was this issue where you couldn't really throw your voice far enough away for other people to hear you. So we came up with these. News and voice can travel faster. How is this built? Communication. How are we going to make this? Science, electricity, circuit boards, batteries, and technically, math, because numbers. Of course, that is one of many examples I can give. And with that, let's move on to the projects and classes. So here are the classes and projects that I did for this panel. We have this lovely propaganda poster to show what sustains us economically for U.S. history. This one having a man in a suit with a sign that says, "I am protesting," showing protesting is what sustains us economically. A paper that takes an item that means something to us and write it as a historical artifact. This one describing how my 3DS tells my life story and how much it means to me. A picture of an element description for chemistry. This one, which has a skeleton holding a diamond with a dinosaur in the background to demonstrate carbon, showing we are literally made out of carbon, and oil or fossil fuels help us create and power things. And this magnificent piece of paper that takes something that someone would like and incorporate into math for the subject, math. Which takes the 3DS but talks mainly about coding and size and how it brings everyone together. Now on the mindset that you understand everything that I just said, I'm going to restate my answer to this panel question. We all know history, but I don't really think we've all seen it really as a storytelling subject, with the common main idea of what happened in the past. This is where English comes into play. The topic English is really based more on writing. So of course, to put these events into context, you need a good sentence structure. Which is fantastic, but there are some holes that we keep finding. Sometimes there's these little pieces of tools that we might find at a historical site. So we're like, okay, I know what this is, but I don't know where this came from. I don't know what significance it had towards these people who use them, and I don't know. So we can now go back to the topic of chemistry. And coincidentally, my element that was chosen for my project is actually the same element that can be used to date anything back up until the Ice Age. So going back to chemistry, for this project that I was doing for it, coincidentally, the element that was chosen for it was indeed carbon. However, the isotope that is used to date this stuff back is carbon-14. So how about math? Well, let's face it, math is pretty much everything. You got your measurements, you got your parabolas, you got your equations. So how does math sustain these 3 topics? Well, for starters, math is everything. But actually the most obvious thing would be this equation that is used. Scientific notation. It's practically used for any long number. The method of scientific notation is to take a gigantic number and condense it into something that looks very simple. So let's take this number. We're going to get rid of all of the zeros and just turn it into a regular decimal. After we have all that, it's now condensed, We can now multiply it by 10 to the power of how many decimal places have been taken away. This is actually how my chemistry class is writing numbers over 1 million. Finally, it's now focused all on me. What about me changed? Did I grow? Did I experience anything? Did I grow? Did I mature? Did I consume anything out of making this project? Actually, yes. Freshman year, when the essential question was, what is art? I said I didn't learn anything, though I did make digitally designed backgrounds for a PowerPoint. Last year, when the essential question was, what is beauty? I made an animation, and I still said I didn't grow at all. And if I said the same thing this year, I'd feel pretty stupid. I actually drew things, I actually animated something, and this year I made a video. Not just for YouTube, but just for judges. I feel like these panel projects have helped me grow a lot. Also, there is one other thing that I have learned from these last 2 panel projects. Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Well, that is all the time that I have for this video. If you have any questions, ask Physical Me. I'm sure he'd be glad to answer them. Bye. I got fluffy fluff. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm just gonna fluff.